Most people think wealth is built on willpower. They believe that if they could just be more disciplined, more motivated, more consistent, everything would finally fall into place. They tell themselves that next month will be different, that the next paycheck will finally stick, that the next burst of motivation will be the one that lasts. But willpower is a finite resource. It drains when life gets loud. It fades when your schedule fills up. It disappears when you're tired, stressed, distracted, or overwhelmed. That isn't a personal failure, that's biology. Your brain isn't designed to make perfect decisions forever. It's designed to conserve energy. And when money decisions pile up day after day, decision quality drops. Even capable, intelligent people make worse choices when they're exhausted. So when your financial life depends on you making the right choice every single day, you are not building wealth. You are surviving on effort, and effort breaks down. Because when work gets busy, when relationships need attention, when health or family demands energy, willpower is the first thing to go. That's why so many responsible people feel stuck financially. Not because they don't understand money, not because they don't care, but because their approach requires them to feel motivated all the time. So today, we're stepping away from the idea of trying harder and toward something far more reliable. A financial structure that works when you're tired, when you're distracted, and when life doesn't cooperate. Here's the mistake most people make. They assume the problem is discipline. They blame themselves for missed budgets, skipped investments, and that constant tightness in their chest whenever money comes up. They think if they could just be stricter, everything would finally stabilize. But the problem isn't you. The problem is that your financial structure is fragile. When every small surprise forces a big emotional decision, a flat tire, a medical bill, a broken appliance, money stops being a tool. It becomes pressure. It becomes something you brace for instead of something you control. And when you're constantly reacting, you're not managing money, you're managing anxiety. That's exhausting. So instead of asking, how do I become more disciplined, we ask a better question. How do I build something stable enough that it doesn't need motivation to survive? Think of this like architecture. Strong buildings don't rely on constant repairs. They rely on structure. They hold up even when conditions aren't ideal. Not hacks, not tricks, not chasing the next strategy. We're building a fortress. Every strong structure follows an order. First comes stability, then friction is removed. Only then does growth happen. When people skip that order, they don't fail because they're reckless. They fail because they're anxious. Stability isn't flashy. It doesn't feel productive, but it's powerful. It's a buffer, a small layer of protection between you and chaos. Because when life reigns, and it always does, the difference between panic and calm isn't income, it's structure. Imagine a flat tire on a rainy night. For someone relying on constant decision-making, that moment becomes a crisis. They check their phone, they check their balance, they calculate, they hesitate. The emotional cost hurts more than the repair itself. But for someone with a structure in place, it's just a Tuesday. The repair gets paid. No debate, no spiral. An inconvenience, not a catastrophe. That's the power of a buffer. This is where most people go wrong. Once they understand the idea of growth, they rush toward it. They see investing, returns, charts moving upward, and they assume growth should be the first priority. They want progress to feel exciting. They want visible movement. They want proof that they're finally doing something right. But growth built on instability doesn't create security. It creates tension. When the foundation is weak, every attempt to grow adds pressure instead of confidence. Every market movement feels personal. Every downturn feels like a mistake. And every decision carries more emotional weight than it should. Investing while carrying high-interest debt is like pouring gold into a bucket with a hole. No matter how much you add, it leaks away. The harder you try to compensate, the more exhausting it becomes. You work harder, save more aggressively, and still feel like you're standing still. This is the mistake. Not recklessness, not ignorance, but anxiety. And this is where things get easier, because from here on, we stop reacting and start building. We don't rush forward, we slow down. We fix the leaks first. We remove friction. We level the ground. Because stability must always come before optimization. Once the structure is solid, once the leaks are sealed, something subtle but powerful happens. Your financial life gets quieter, not instantly richer, not dramatically different, just steadier. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop replaying decisions late at night. You stop revisiting the same problems every month. The same questions stop coming up. The same stress stops returning. Bills get paid automatically. Savings happen on schedule. Growth begins to work quietly in the background, without demanding your attention. You're no longer relying on motivation. You're relying on design. And this is the part people misunderstand about wealth. It isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It isn't exciting. It's boring. And boring is powerful. Boring means predictable. Boring means repeatable. Boring means resilient. A strong financial structure doesn't panic. It doesn't overreact. It doesn't depend on how you feel this week or next month. It holds its shape under pressure. When the structure does the heavy lifting, you get your life back. You stop checking balances compulsively. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop feeling like one mistake could undo everything you've built. Money becomes background noise instead of a constant alert. And in that quiet, growth happens. Not because you're watching it, not because you're optimizing it constantly, but because the blueprint is designed to continue without your attention. This is why the calm approach wins, not because it's faster, but because it survives real life. You don't need to build the whole fortress today. You don't need perfect habits. You don't need intense discipline. You just need to lay one brick, a starter buffer, one layer of stability, one small decision that reduces stress tomorrow. That's how enduring structures begin, quietly, slowly, almost unnoticed. Build wealth the steady way.